Hello everyone, I'm Kalen North, and today we're going to be talking about basic strategies for the spirit Sharp Fangs behind the leaves. Sharp Fangs is a beast-focused spirit. They use a token from Branch and Claw, and they have a great amount of offensive potential as well as a lot of fear potential. I tend to like doing a bottom track build. That's what we're going to focus on in this video, is drafting a lot of powers, playing minors, trying to keep things relatively cheap as far as the powers we play. And we're going to be regularly placing presence and then converting it to beasts, trying to keep very few presence on the island because the more beasts we have, the more powerful we can get. We'll be playing on board B. Board A, sometimes I like to do different strategies because you actually start in land with a town. Board C is a little weird because the beasts start concentrated in land 4. And board D would be a fine option, but between B and D there isn't a huge difference as far as what Fangs can do and how you play them. If you are interested in seeing a board A strategy, I do have a speedrun video, speedrun tutorial for Fangs that talks about how to do a little bit more of a top track oriented build that focuses on ranging hunt every turn from turn 1. We are going to play with Branch and Claw and events turned on for this video. In the past tutorials, we haven't done that. We obviously need Branch and Claw on to play a Branch and Claw spirit. As far as events go, though, Fangs can really abuse the Command Beasts card pretty well, and so I think it's going to be more informative to introduce the variants of events rather than use the Command Beasts option, which can just win us the game outright sometimes, either through destroying buildings or generating that last bit of fear we need. So instead, we'll just rely on the event deck to show us some of the variants that you can get positively when you have, 6 beasts on the board. Alright, Fangs gets to start in 2 different lands, potentially. They can in fact start on multiple boards in multiplayer games, but in solo, I like to spread my presence out a little more first, unless, of course, I'm starting in a land with buildings, in which case things are weird, so we're not going to go into that too much. Again, you can see my speedrun tutorial video if you want to go into that a little bit. So I'm going to put my starting presence in land 5 rather than in land 8, which gives me access to more of the board. And we've got an Explorer in land 5 initially, which is interesting. We'll be able to do some stuff with that. And then turn 1, I want to gain a power card and place a presence from the bottom track. So I'm going to start by drafting a miner. And now this gets into where Fangs is most interesting, I think, is what do you draft as miners? We obviously want animal and plant elements. So Tormenting Rotflies is immediately appealing for that. But it also costs 1, whereas the rest of the cards in this draft cost 0. 0 cost cards are really big for Fangs, just because their energy can be very tight when we're going for a pure bottom track build. They do have their energy spike, but we'd rather be gaining powers or reclaiming while still placing presence every turn if possible. And so we don't really want to take more expensive powers if we can help it. Additionally, effect-wise, some of these powers are a lot more useful than others. Drift Down into Slumber, for example, lets us solve land 3 immediately. And we can just use that very effectively. And it's probably the one I want to take from this draft just because of that. Twilight Fog Brings Madness is another interesting one. It's not as appealing as Drift Down into Slumber because it doesn't have plant. But getting some extra Dahan movement and getting some strifing is actually kind of cool on Fangs. Shadows of the Burning Forest is less appealing, largely because we want to be destroying things more than pushing them. We've already got Terrifying Chase as a very powerful push power that does pretty similar things, but actually has an element we care about on it. And Shadows of the Burning Forest, while interesting and potentially useful, is just not going to be as impactful as taking Drift Down into Slumber is. So I'm going to go ahead and take Drift Down. I'm going to place a presence from the bottom track, and I like to go into land 4 on this board because I don't really need another beast token right away. We're not going to be ranging hunting on turn 1, or we are going to be ranging hunting, but we're not going to be ranging hunting for damage on turn 1. But we are going to potentially be able to do so on turn 2, depending on Actually, I say that, but no, that's not the case because we're going to play Drift Down into Slumber. So we're probably not going to Raging Hunt on turn 2 unless we draw another power, which lets us do that. So I'm going to go ahead and place Presence in land 4, give myself some additional targeting for things like Too Near the Jungle and Teeth Gleam from Darkness. And then, because I'm thinking about playing Drift Down into Slumber on turn 2, I could do something a little different than I might otherwise and play either one of Too Near the Jungle or Teeth Gleam from Darkness on turn 1. Normally I would play Prey on the Builders and Terrifying Chase, leaving me with the possibility of Raging Hunt for damage on turn 2. But we do have a little more flexibility because we have the knowledge that we want to defend land 3 rather than pushing things around as much this turn. As to what we're actually going to do, I'm thinking I want to take Terrifying Chase still, just because I really like to get the Dahan out of land 8, plus any invaders that spawn there if they explore the jungles next, and just shove them into land 6 or 7. So I am going to do this play, which is pretty typical with Fangs. Prey on the Builders first in land 5, and then I'm going to Raging Hunt and pull the Beast out of land 5 and move it and the Presence into land 4. That's going to set us up for a Sacred Site and be potentially useful for... we can do that after Prey on the Builders goes, but we don't want to do it before, obviously, because otherwise then Prey on the Builders doesn't trigger. That Sacred Site could be useful if we draft something like a Nature's Resilience or another power that somehow lets us defend land 3 but also get Animal Element next turn. Invaders build in the sands and explore the jungles. Alright. So we're going to Terrifying Chase land 8. We have a Beast there, so we'll get to push everything out. And I'm going to shove it all into land 6 and set that land up for a future turn in which we will probably try and take out the Town and Explorer with Raging Hunt. Turn 2, I want to draft another power card. I'm going to take a Miner and... These are interesting, but I think we have a pretty obvious choice in Here There Be Monsters. Guardian Serpents is really cool for adding extra beasts, but given that we don't get the defend unless we have a Sacred Site, and Sacred Sites are often hard to come by, I think I would rather have Here There Be Monsters, which gets me much more fear, and costs 0 instead of 1 again. Visions of Fiery Doom and Pull Beneath the Hungry Earth are fine cards. Visions is a little weak, especially on Fangs, because we're not going to get the Threshold most of the time, and it's a little overpriced for us. Pull Beneath the Hungry Earth can be useful, especially given how mobile our Presence is, but again, it doesn't really have good elements, and it costs 1, so it's a lot less appealing. So I'm going to take Here There Be Monsters, and then I'm going to place another Presence from the bottom track, and I'm going to place that Presence in land 4. Then I'm going to convert it to a Beast. Now, for our plays this turn, we want to Drift Down into Slumber in order to handle land 3. I'm going to actually use Here There Be Monsters to handle land 4, because it is inland, it lets us push the town out, and it's going to get us a bunch of fear, so that's really nice. And then we want to play one of our other 2 powers. We can play Too Near the Jungle if we're worried about energy, or we can play Teeth Gleam from Darkness if we really want to set up an additional Beast this turn. I do want to set up an additional Beast this turn. I want to put another Beast in land 6. And so I'm going to play Teeth Gleam from Darkness. I think that's more important than sniping an Explorer. We'll finish playing cards. Drift Down into Slumber is going to defend land 3. And then Raging Hunt, I'm going to go ahead and gather a Beast from land 4, along with a Presence, into land 5, and then I'm going to push it into land 6. This is going to set us up for that 3 damage, potentially, Raging Hunt next turn. Distant Exploration, that's fine. We haven't really cut off any of the inland yet. Grim Toll is going to deal some damage to a city, which isn't going to do much at all. And then Fierce Mean will get us a little bit of fear, so that's nice. Flee the Pestilent Land doesn't do anything. Invaders ravaging the sands, build in the jungles, and explore the wetlands. Alright, so we really want to try and do something about land 6 next turn. So I'm going to Teeth Gleam from Darkness in land 6, add a beast and get a fear, and I'm going to Here There Be Monsters in land 4, pushing the town into land 2, just to focus the invaders a little bit here. Next up, we're going to draft yet another power. We're going to be uncovering our Reclaim 1 spot this turn, and so we're still going to be able to play 3 cards. If we can get something with Animal, we can Ranging Hunt for damage this turn, which would be huge. And we got several things with Animal, actually. And Plant them as well. So Pact of the Joined Hunt is interesting, get some extra damage and some Dahan movement, which can be nice. Nature's Resilience is really interesting for being able to potentially set up a defend in something like land 1 or something like that if we can get a Sacred Site. Dark Entangled Woods is a cool power, but isn't what we want right now. We've already got a decent Fear generation. We don't really have a mountain or jungle that needs defending. And then Inflame the Fires of Life is actually really, really cool for us because we're going to regularly be able to hit that threshold. We're often going to have 3 animal from this point on in the game. So I'm going to take Inflame the Fires of Life rather than one of the others and grow from the Reclaim 1 spot and put a presence in land 6. We're going to convert that presence in land 6 to a beast. And then what we're going to do is we're going to reclaim... we can actually reclaim anything we want here. Which gives me a new idea. I was going to reclaim Teeth Gleam from Darkness in order to get Ranging Hunt, because I was more expecting to just get something with Animal, if anything. But now that we got something with Animal and Plant, we can take any of these powers back. And I think that we're actually going to benefit from doing Prey on the Builders instead. So I'm going to take Prey on the Builders. I'm going to play all 3 cards. And then we will use Ranging Hunt to pull a beast and a presence into land 6, destroy everything in it, and then push that beast, those beasts and presence into land 1. Part of the reason we want to do this is now we have a Sacred Site to Inflame the Fires of Life. And the other thing is that we can now Prey on the Builders in land 1 and basically solve it for us, for ourselves. So I'm going to grab a beast from land 6. We get an event. Alright, search for new lands. In each land with at least 2 explorers, we push an explorer. That doesn't do anything. Distant Hunt is nice. We're going to be able to push a beast and take out an explorer. And then Canny Defense is not going to do anything, unfortunately. Or fortunately. We don't have any Ravages set up that are threatening right now. So I'm going to push a beast from land 6 into land 5. And Wary of the Interior kills the Explorer in land 4, so we're actually quite clean right now. Invaders explore the sands, and they don't get to explore land 5, so that's cool. And then Too Near the Jungle takes out the Explorer in land 3, while Inflame the Fires of Life adds Disease and Strife to land 2. We could do something in land 1 instead, but we don't need to, so we're not going to. This turn, we could, if we really wanted to, draft another power, reclaim 1 and just play 2. But it is probably worth doing our reclaim at this point, even though it costs us energy. We're going to have to play a bunch of 0-costing powers this turn, but from next turn on, we're going to be able to Ranging Hunt, play whatever we want, more or less, almost every turn for the rest of the game. So I'm going to gain a minor power again. So Song of Sanctity is not very interesting. We could clean up a Blight with it, which sometimes is relevant with Fangs if you really want to be able to Ranging Hunt in like a land that started with a Blight or a land that you couldn't get control of early. Voracious Growth, same kind of thing. 2 damage, remove a Blight in a jungle or wetland. Neither of those is super appealing right now. Rain of Blood is kind of nice because animal element and also generating lots of fear for 0. And Elemental Boon, of course, is a great card just for being able to always guarantee us our elements. However, I think right now I want to take Rain of Blood. The reason being is it costs 0, and right now we're actually a little tight on energy because we have to pay 1 for our reclaim. And so I'm going to want to have Rain of Blood so that I have slightly more options in what I play this turn. So I'm going to place 4th Presence, or the presence from the card play track, and get to 4 card plays. I am going to place the presence in... I either land 1 or 4. It doesn't make a huge difference. We're probably going to convert it to a beast regardless of which one we put it into. And we're not going to be able to do enough to actually get a Ranging Hunt off in land 2, even if we have the right elements for it. So I'm going to go ahead and just play Rain of Blood, 2 near the... Here There Be Monsters, 2 near the jungle. Here There Be Monsters is going to not do much because there isn't really anything we want to push, but it is going to generate 3 fear. So that's nice. And if they explore the jungles or something like that, we can then push from there. I'm going to, as I was saying, convert presence to a beast. And if we get 1 more plant, we can do a damaging Ranging Hunt this turn. So I'm going to go ahead and play Teeth Gleam from the Darkness in order to get that plant and also just get another beast token for next turn. Because what we're going to do is we're going to clear land 1, swarm land 2 with beasts, and try and just utterly annihilate it next turn or the turn after. So we'll finish playing cards. Our only power we get to use right away is Ranging Hunt. I'll grab the beast from land 5 because it's not quite as important right now. And I will move into land 2. I am going to bring both of my presents along as well because I want to keep a Sacred Site for Rain of Blood. I can't tell you how many times I've accidentally made a mistake with Rain of Blood or other Sacred Site targeting powers as Fangs, but it can really throw you off sometimes. Putting down Roots doesn't do anything right now because there's nothing in our inlands. Stricken isn't going to do anything, and Drive Off the Interlopers isn't going to do anything, so it's a bit of a nothing burger of an event. We get to remove a town from a coastal land, so that's nice. Invaders basically don't do anything, and then Explore in the Mountains. So we can 2 near the jungle, take out the Explorer. We can Teeth Gleam from Darkness, get another beast in there. Or we could actually gain 3 fear. We don't need the extra beast. Doesn't make much of a difference, though. Here There Be Monsters, just gain some more fear. And Rain of Blood, gain some more fear. At this point, I hope it's pretty clear that we're going to just win this turn. I'm going to go ahead and take the Energy Spike for the first time and grow from the bottom track so we get our second Reclaim 1 option. Put a presence into land 2, convert a presence in land 2 into a beast, reclaim 2 cards, we'll take back 2 near the jungle, and we'll take back... doesn't really matter. I'll take back Here There Be Monsters. We'll play 2 near the jungle, Inflame the Fires of Life, Here There Be Monsters, and then we can also play Prey on the Builders and Terrifying Chase if we want to, just to get all of the things. We don't need any of this though, because we're just going to Ranging Hunt land 2 and clear it and win. So that's the game. Terra level 2 victory with Fangs. We do clear the island entirely. Fangs often can do that at low difficulties and can sometimes do it at high difficulties. But yeah, that's offensive Fangs, bottom track build. Sometimes, especially when you're playing on a more difficult game, you do want to shift into majors later on in the game. So perhaps that last minor power I drafted should have been a major power instead. Because then I can take my Energy Spike and use the major and spam it with our Reclaim 1 option. But yeah, that's most of it. A lot of Fangs is in the spatial puzzle of getting your beasts where you want them when you want them. And it's hard to really explain that without just telling you to play a bunch of games of Fangs, and it sort of clicks eventually. But definitely check out my other videos of Fangs. Check out other people's videos of Fangs. You can get some insight on what's good for drafting and what's not so good for drafting. Get some insight on how the spatial puzzle works. I think there's a lot of different ways that Fangs can go, and they're a very powerful spirit in most of those directions. Well, thanks for watching. I encourage you to experiment with Fangs. We're probably going to be doing another video sometime in the near future talking about other builds of Fangs other than this bottom track one. But in the meanwhile, if you have thoughts, questions, differing opinions, let me know in the comments below, or reach out to me on Discord. We have a Discord server for the channel, so we're not super active right now, but I do post about new videos there, and if you'd like to reach out to me about an idea you have or anything like that, it's the place to be. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day.